everyone. Thanks for attending the webinar today about our awesome County Coordinator Program. Look forward to hearing and seeing more about your projects. Appreciate all the work you do at the community level for mitigation. And thanks for being a part of this program.
Good morning. Dave Farley, Senior Grant Specialist. Glad to be here, and ditto to what Amber said. So Morgan, take it away.
Hi there, Morgan Galliano, also Senior Grant Specialist. Nice to meet you all. Let's see. Go ahead, Becky.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Becky DeForest, and I'm a staff grant specialist working with the Evacuation Planning and Development grantees. I will popcorn it. Let's see, who else do we have on the call? Oh, Thomas, sorry. Go ahead, Thomas.
Thanks so much, Becky. My name is Thomas Schumacher. I'm a staff grant specialist here at CFSC. Welcome to everyone to this wonderful event organized by our county coordinator team. Thanks so much. I will popcorn it now. Let me see. Brittany, if you're ready, feel free to jump in.
Thank you, Thomas. Hi, good morning, everyone. Congratulations on receiving this grant award and happy to be here. My name is Brittany Munoz. I'm the Southern California and interim Northern California Regional Coordinator alongside Brooke McAllister. You'll hear more about what the regional coordinators do in this presentation. So I'll pop it on over to Dave. Did you go? Dave?
I did go, but I'll go again. Dave Farley, Senior Grant Specialist. Glad to be here. Ditto to what Amber and Brittany said. Sarah Niss, please.
Thanks, Dave. Again. My name is Sarah Niss. I am the administrative assistant between Grants Clearinghouse with Amber manages, and then the programs and outreach team that Becca Joyner manages. And yeah, excited to see what this program does. I'm trying to see, I know Brooke, are you ready? Are you out there?
I'm ready. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Sarah. My name is Brooke McAllister. I am the Central California Regional Coordinator and interim Northern California Regional Coordinator. And like Brittany said, congratulations on being awarded this grant and looking forward to working with you all.
Okay, thank you. I think that's everybody. If I'm missing somebody, go ahead and jump in. But for now, I'm going to pass it over to Nina for the first half of our workshop presentation. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with the PowerPoint. This PowerPoint will also be available following the workshop. So just give me one moment. Right. So Nina, if you can just let me know when you would like me to advance the slides.
Perfect. Thanks, Julia. I believe we just need them to be in full screen. Yes. And we're ready to go. Awesome. Perfect. All right, everyone. Well, welcome again to the 2022 CAL FIRE County Coordinator Statewide Grant Program. You can go ahead and pass it to the next slide, Julia. Now that we've heard a bit of introductions from our staff, we would love to hear from all of you. There are quite a few folks on this call, so please go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat with your organization and a bit about your project as well and what county your organization is in as well. Thank you. All right, and listed here, we have the grant team members that will be here to help you with any questions regarding the county coordinator program. We have here Amber Gardner, our clearinghouse manager, Julia Marsili, and myself. And as I said, Julia is the project contact for CAL FIRE's Northern region and myself for CAL FIRE's Southern region. And we have Sarah Niss, our administrative assistant. I'm going to turn off my video for a second here. I'm having some technical problems. Alrighty, this seems to help my bandwidth a bit. Okay, and additionally, here is the contact information for the CFFC programs and outreach team. The county coordinators will be working closely with the CFFC regional coordinators to achieve the goals of the county coordinator grant program. And we have Jessica Martinez, who is our program director, Becca Joyner, our programs and outreach manager, We heard from Brooke and Brittany, our Central and Southern Regional Coordinators, and we also have Laura Popiak and Megan Kadich on our communications team. Next slide. And I'm going to actually go ahead and toss it back over to Brooke and Brittany to talk a little bit more about their roles as regional coordinators and how they support the County Coordinator Grant Program. Brooke or Brittany, whoever would like to jump on first.
Sure. Thank you, Nina. This is Brooke McAllister again. The map is broken up into 3 regions. We've got Northern, Central, and Southern. As we mentioned, I am Central and Brittany is Southern, and we are in the process of hiring a new Northern California Regional Coordinator as we speak. So that'll be exciting coming up soon. Historically, the regional coordinators held the role of supporting our fire safe councils throughout the state and helping with partnerships and networking. And so that's a lot of territory for one person to cover. And so for us, the benefit of having the county coordinators is that you're the touch point between the RCs and all of the networks throughout the region. And specifically, you're our touch point for your county. So it's really going to help mitigate the problems we've been seeing with finding all of the pertinent partners and the right folks to help our fire safe councils be supported and get them the right resources. So we're really here to support you, and we have a lot of touch points throughout the counties, but you're really going to be the piece that's pulling together the network in your county so that we can better support you, and specifically the fire safe councils, fire-wise communities, fire adapted communities in each of your counties. And Brittany, did you have anything to add to that also?
Thanks, Brooke. That was a really good overview. Yeah, as Brooke said, we're here to empower you to be the leaders in your regions. And we're here for technical support, partnership support. If you're finding a block in your grant or something, reach out to us. Maybe we can help you and support you in that way. But please work with your local fire safe councils. We would love to have you join our regional meetings, which may be in a slide after this. But once a month, we have regional meetings in each section, and also a quarterly statewide meeting. So with that, I will pass it back to Julia or Nina.
Hey, Nina, I just wanted to jump in really quickly and make a clarifying point that we get asked a lot, the difference between your grant specialist and your regional coordinator and who you should be communicating with. We always encourage you to communicate with both of us. So if you have a question about something that's happening specifically with your invoices or your progress reports, or really like grant logistics heavy, please reach out to your grant specialist. We can really help you walk through that. If you need help modifying or keeping up with your work plan and making sure you're on track, again, your grant specialists are always here for you. But if it's an issue with communicating with other groups or stakeholders in your region, that's really where our regional coordinators are the experts. However, we do ask that you just include your grant specialist on your emails and communications with your regional coordinators, and vice versa, so that it kind of eliminates those communication gaps between us, and we're all kept apprised of what is happening with your grant and within your county. So just wanted to add that in just to avoid any confusion down the road. Just keep us all posted on whatever you have going on. So I'll go ahead and pass it back to Nina.
Awesome. Thanks, Julia. And thank you, Brooke and Brittany, as well. All right, we can move on to the next slide here, Julia. Perfect. So as part of this presentation, we will be walking through the 2022 statewide County Coordinator Grant Management Handbook. This handbook is a detailed extension of the information found in your subaward agreement. And I believe that you should have received a copy of your grant management handbook this morning through Zoom Grants. If you do not have or if you have any trouble finding this copy of the handbook, please go ahead and let Julia or myself know, and we can email you a copy of the handbook if needed. Here is our agenda for this meeting. We will be going over 2 main parts of the handbook, project implementation, as well as grant management. And we will be providing some resources, and at the end, we'll have time for questions. But please feel free to ask any questions you have in the chat, and we'll do our best to address them as they come in, or you can save your questions for the end during our Q&A time. Part 1 will be covering project implementation, as I said, and we will be going over the grant cycle, roles and responsibilities of the subrecipient, and the subaward agreement. Awesome. This diagram shows the way that grants are structured into phases. As recipients of the 2022 statewide county coordinator grant, you are now in the post-award phase, where you are reviewing and signing the subaward agreement with CFFC. Throughout the duration of the grant program, we will be in the monitoring phase, where you will be completing your grant program projects, taking photo documentation, and submitting quarterly progress reports. And during the closeout phase is where you will submit your final closeout report to your grant specialist. So you, as the subrecipient, will carry out the subgrant project that you submitted to CFFC with funding from the pass-through entity. Some of your responsibilities will be to complete the project as described in your grant application, spend your grant funds correctly, document all expenses. This will be submitted with payment requests as your source documentation, and report accomplishments accurately, completely, and on time. And you will be also responsible for taking photo documentation throughout the grant term and submitting these along with your progress reports and closeout report at the end. And many of you have signed your subawards, but to quickly review, this agreement is considered fully executed upon signature and approval by an authorized representative of the California Fire Safe Council. Throughout the grant term, the subaward will be referenced by your grant specialist, and it is important that you familiarize yourself with it. The term of this agreement is from February 1st, 2023 to July 31st, 2024, the 18-month grant program. Next slide. And as a reminder, failure by the subrecipient to comply with the terms of this agreement may result in the termination of your subaward. Here on the slide, we have listed some examples of reasons for termination, including but not limited to misuse of grant funds, lack of capacity, falsification of reporting data, non-performance by the subrecipient, misrepresentation, non-adherence to grants terms, inability to perform, and fraud. However, your grant specialists and regional coordinators are here to help answer any questions or concerns you have regarding the grant program to ensure that you have a successful completion of your grant projects. And some important subaward reminders. Ground disturbing work is not allowed under the terms of this grant program. And please reach out to your grant specialist if you have any questions regarding your subaward agreements. And if you are already aware of any modifications that you need to make to your project budget, your deliverables or outcomes, please go ahead and contact your grant specialist and we'll work with you to get these modifications made.
Great, thank you so much, Nina. And just one quick reminder that if you have not yet signed your subaward agreement, those are due on February 22nd. If there are extenuating circumstances where you cannot get your subaward agreement signed at that time, please reach out to your grant specialist and let us know. We are able to work with you, especially those of you who need to get your subaward on a Board of Supervisors agenda to be voted on. We understand that that can cause delays. So please let us know if you're not able to get that signed by February 22nd. In addition to uploading your W-9 and ACH documentation, which we will discuss here in just one moment. So I'm going to take on part 2 of this presentation. So grant management, we will cover reporting, payment requests, source documentation, grant modifications, public statements, and grant closeout in this section. All of this information is included in your grant award handbook. So we're not going to read the grant award handbook to you. We're just going to cover the main points and give you some direction on how to get started. Please reference your grant award handbook with any questions or reach out to us after the presentation. So part one is discussing progress reports. So progress reports will be due for this grant each quarter, and there are two main sections of the progress report. You have your work plan progress, and these reports help the county coordinators to keep track of the progress of the project work plan and also keep CFSC updated. So these should be directly correlated to the steps and dates in your work plan. And then you have part two, which are deliverables and metrics. So these are numerical values that CFSC collects for our records and may be shared with our partners. This next slide gives an example of some of the progress report metrics that we are collecting and how we're using the deliverables and metrics. So this is an example from early on in our Northern Region County Coordinator Grant Program, which was the first of these funded programs. It was our pilot. So when it comes time to submit your first progress report, you will see that one of the metrics that we ask you to collect are number of wildfire mitigation groups engaged with, number of community members engaged, number of educational products produced. And then also this map here on the left includes a zip code. So we are asking you to report on which zip codes the county coordinator has engaged with. All of the orange areas on this map here represent zip codes engaged with by our Northern Region County coordinators. So you can see that we're trying to decipher what parts of the county and the state are being impacted by this project. Here are your due dates for the quarterly progress reports. Again, this is all contained in your grant award handbook. These are also contained in Zoom grants in your progress report tab, which we will be turning on following this award workshop. You probably won't be able to see that tab yet. These dates are also available in your subaward agreement. So one important note is that failure to submit complete and accurate reports on time will result in the denial of your advance payment requests, and continued failure to meet this requirement may result in termination of the subgrant. Additionally, failure to comply with all reporting and closeout procedures by the deadlines will be considered non-compliance with the terms of your subaward agreement. And this could actually be considered in the evaluation of your organizational capacity for future grant program applications and subawards. If you foresee that any of these dates are going to be problematic to meet, please contact your grant specialist immediately, and we can come up with a modification or an extension on these progress report dates. We are always willing to work with you, and we do understand that extenuating circumstances arise. So just please, we ask that you let us know as soon as possible. This part of the workshop covers site visits and desk audits. So these are additional ways that CFSC monitors the progress of your project. A site visit could include touring the project area and reviewing subgrant documentation, and desk reviews could be completed at any time to ensure that subgrantees are meeting the standards for management of grant funds. So during both a site visit and a desk review, you should be able to readily produce grant documentation and expense documentation. These will be scheduled well in advance. We anticipate up to 1 to 2 site visits and desk audits throughout the course of this grant project. But again, your grant specialist will reach out to you to schedule these in advance so you have a lot of notice. The next part of our County Coordinator Grant Program is our GIS networking portal. Now, this is a new kind of sub-project that we've taken on as part of the County Coordinator Grant Program. We rolled this out in October of last year with our pilot round of subrecipients. So we're still working out some of the bugs, and we're still working with them to further develop this. But really the intent of this GIS networking portal is to fill the information gaps between county coordinators and CFSC by giving you, our county coordinators, access to a shared ArcGIS portal where you are able to add and modify data related to wildfire mitigation practitioners within your county. This program will help you to achieve the primary goal of this grant project, which is to build a census of all active wildfire mitigation groups, contact points, collaboration efforts, and projects. all wildfire mitigation organization information added into this shared GIS networking portal will populate on CFSC's website eventually. We haven't yet launched the public piece of this program. We're hoping to do so in the spring or the summer, so that the public is able to gain access to up-to-date information about practitioners in their area. In the future, we hope to expand this GIS networking portal program to include project boundaries, surveys, boundaries that show where fire safe councils, firewise communities, and the like are located, and also additional data. So this is really a project that is in the works. We're very excited about it. We are offering support to our county coordinators to complete this part of the project. So this isn't something that you have to think about right at this moment. We will let you know when we're launching this with your round of subrecipients, and we will also provide support and office hours with our GIS team to assist you in getting access to this shared portal. So we will let you know when that's happening, but as you're beginning your project work, definitely keep in mind that this is going to be coming as you're collecting contact information about wildfire practitioners in your county. Next, we're going to talk about the CFSC payment request process. So all grant funds are distributed through a direct ACH deposit into your bank account. So this is why we asked you to complete an ACH form with a voided check included. The County Coordinator Grant Program is conducted on an advance payment basis. So for your first payment request, you will actually be able to request up to half of your award amount, which is $87,500. You may then submit for the next half of your grant award when you have spent down 60% or more of this first payment. You also have to include supporting documentation with that second request to show how the first request funds were spent. And of course, CFSC has the ability to modify these amounts at any time based off of grant performance. So before you submit your first payment request, you will need to make sure that these items are complete. So you will need to have completed progress reports for previous quarters. This really is for your next payment request because you don't have any progress reports due yet. You will need up-to-date insurance documents showing a insurance expiration date that is in the future. So please keep those insurance documents updated in Zoom grants. As an insurance term expires, please upload your new certificate of insurance into the document section. There is also a section on your payment request where you can update your insurance info. You must complete the ACH and W-9 forms. These are found in your Zoom Grants account under both the subaward tab and the documents tab. There are templates for these located there. And then for your second payment request, you must provide proof of expenditures for the prior invoice period. So you won't need any of that for your first payment request. Another thing to keep in mind is please make sure that if you have other grants that are open and active with CFSC, that you will need to have those grant reports up to date and submitted on time before you may request a payment for the County Coordinator Grant Program. Here are the steps to submit a payment request. You probably can't really see this. Don't worry, this is all included in your grant award handbook, but basically to submit your first request, you will log into your Zoom Grants account. You will navigate to the financial tab in your account, select the add invoice button, and then complete all of the requested information. So some important things to note: the title of your invoice should be your 6-digit grant number, followed by a dash, and then the sequential request number. So it'll be your 6-digit grant number -1 for this first request. Your grant number can be found in the title of your project in Zoom Grants. Again, you may request up to half of your award amount, so that's $87,500. And of course, source documentation is not necessary for this first payment request because you have not spent anything yet. To talk a little bit about what this source documentation looks like, we have actually provided you with templates in your grant award handbook. So you are welcome to use those templates as your source documentation and just fill them in with your own information. So there's 2 documents that are required to show proof of expenditures. The first is a summary sheet or a cover page that identifies your county coordinator grant budget categories. So of course, these are found in Zoom grants under the budget tab. This document must include the budgeted amount, the requested amount, and the amount of funds spent to date in each budget category. So this just helps us to get a very quick view of exactly what has been spent. And then the next item is a detailed transaction ledger by budget category. So this can be a printout from QuickBooks or whatever accounting software you use. We ask that you try to keep this very organized and easy for us to read and review. If you're including too much extraneous information or things that are not actually relevant to this grant project, it makes it so that your invoices will take longer for us to process. So the more simplistic you keep this information and the more you stick to the provided templates, the easier it will be for us to process your invoice. Also, if you decide to contract out the county coordinator position or use contractors in any way during the course of this grant program, you will need to include a detailed contractor invoice. We have included an invoice template as well in the handbook. So this contractor invoice must include their hourly rate, the description of activities completed, time spent completing the activity, and the name of the individual completing the activity. Next, we are going to talk about grant modifications. So these can include usually include one of 3 things. So these are programmatic changes, budget revisions, or an extension of the subgrant term. So programmatic changes are scope or objectives of your approved county coordinator project, key personnel, project location, or the transfer of programmatic work to another party. Budget revisions include if more than 10% is being moved between budget categories. So if you have a change greater than 10%, say you want to move some of your original supplies budget over to personnel, and it's more than 10% of the original request, you will need to submit a modification. Modifications also include grant term extensions. So if you're requesting an extension on the back end of this performance period, you will need to submit a modification. Modifications, we have a modification template. We will make sure that that is uploaded into your document section in Zoom grants so that you have a copy. All modifications must be formally submitted on this template to your grant specialist to receive approval. And then that will also be found in your Zoom grants document library as well. So prior to moving forward with the modification, you must have a conversation with your grant specialist. I definitely recommend a phone call conversation so that you can talk through the modifications, and then your grant specialist will give you the go-ahead to formally submit the modification on the provided template. They will sign off on it, and then you are able to go through with your modification. The Grant Management Handbook and Subaward also discuss the necessary language that must be used when you're creating public statements about this County Coordinator Grant Program Award. It is extremely important that any public notices must include this statement and logos. And we also ask that you run any public statements past your grant specialist prior to releasing them. So public statements include press releases, social media. We just like to have eyes on it because, you know, CFSC is involved in the language, as well as CAL FIRE and California Climate Investments. So we want to make sure that the proper language is being used. We do ask that you include CFSC in your public language as well. There's examples of social media posts and language that you need to use in your grant award handbook. We definitely welcome you to share public announcements about this grant program. We just ask that we review it beforehand. And then finally, when you're getting ready to finish your grant term, you will begin the closeout phase. So during this phase, all of your project work will end, any outstanding payment requests will be submitted, And in addition, you will have to submit a final closeout report. So you will see in the report dates that the final closeout report is actually due on the same day as your final quarterly progress report. So your quarterly progress reports are only reporting on the project work happening during that quarter, whereas the final closeout report will report out on the project work that has happened throughout the entire 18-month grant term. So just some important reminders for you to stay aware of. Please be really familiar with your subaward agreement and your original grant application. There's a lot of language that is very important contained in your subaward agreement. If you have a question about something, I recommend that you reference your subaward agreement first. And then if you need further clarification, please reach out to your grant specialist. Begin immediately tracking your project expenses from the start of your project date, and be organized with those expenses so that you are ready to submit that source documentation whenever you want to submit for your second invoice, or you're ready to show that information if requested by your grant specialist. Submitting reports on time each quarter, of course, is extremely important, and communicating any questions or challenges well in advance with your grant specialist. Again, we are very understanding. We want to work with you to make this project a success, but that requires communication. So if you're running into a challenge, if you need a modification, if you have any questions, please reach out to us at any time to discuss those. And then creating success stories and before and after photos. The before and after photos aren't as relevant for this type of grant program as they are for like a fuels reduction project. However, we ask throughout the course of your grant that you're taking pictures of any meetings that you're attending. You're taking screenshots. If you do a website update, please take a screenshot of the before and after of your website update, those sorts of things. One of the requirements of the grant closeout report is a success story. So there is a template success story included in your grant award handbook, but you really should start thinking about what you're going to submit for that success story well before the close of your grant, so that you're keeping track of all of your successes and great photos and materials throughout the course of the project. So next, I wanted to move on to some resources that we have for you to be successful in your project and stay connected with CFSC. The first map that we wanted to share, so this is a CAL FIRE region map. This is what we mean when we say that I am the grant specialist for CAL FIRE's northern region and Nina is the grant specialist for CAL FIRE's southern region. This is how it's divided. It's really not Northern and Southern California. As you can see, this red line shows you what the regions are. So if you are located above the red line, I am your grant specialist. If you are located below the red line, Nina is your grant specialist. San Joaquin County, you are kind of split in half, as is Stanislaus County. So Nina is your grant specialist there. And then, of course, we have our region, our CFSC region map, which is not the same as the CAL FIRE region map. So this will show you who your regional coordinator contact is based off of where your county is located. Again, we are in the hiring process for a northern regional coordinator. So for now, you're welcome to reach out to Brooke and Brittany. Brooke and Brittany host monthly regional calls. These meetings can be found on our CFSC events page. There are the links here. Again, these PowerPoint slides will be available to you. So these links will take you to the event page where you can find your northern, central, and southern monthly meetings. These monthly meetings are a really excellent resource to connect you with other practitioners from across the state, to hear from guest speakers from different industries. They're just a really great opportunity for you to stay in the know about what's happening with CFSC and other practitioners. And then we have our monthly county coordinator meeting series. So this is actually launching next week. Tuesday, the 21st is the first of these monthly county coordinator meetings. These are really geared only toward our county coordinators so that you can meet other funded county coordinators, hear more about their project, share any challenges or successes, and kind of troubleshoot and ask questions with them. We highly encourage you to attend these. They will be on the third Tuesday of every month at 11 a.m. Meeting registration link is located here. It is also located on our events calendar, but the meeting registration link isn't there because these aren't really open public meetings. Like I said, only county coordinators are able to attend these monthly meetings. So if you need the meeting registration link, please reach out to Nina or I, and we can get that for you. But again, that will be on Tuesday, the 21st at 11 a.m. We're really looking forward to launching these. It's been a long time coming, and we've gotten a lot of requests from our existing county coordinators to host something like this. And then, of course, we encourage you to explore our website at cafiresafecouncil.org. On our website, you will find our virtual learning center, which is a place to keep resources so that you don't have to dig around for them. So we'll highlight resources and articles that will help and support community awareness, preparedness, and resiliency on the virtual learning center. Also on our website is the CFSC events calendar. So this is not only for CFSC events, but also events hosted by you and other local wildfire practitioners. So this calendar is a really great way to see what's happening across the state and your region. There is a link on the events calendar. If you have an event coming up, you can submit your event to be shown on this events calendar. So I highly recommend that you take advantage of that as you're planning events over the course of the grant term. And our communications team also recently started posting webinar recordings under past events if they are available. And then finally, we have our newsletters and our e-blasts. We promise we do not spam you. We send out really great information about open grant projects. So if you're wondering what's coming next, what's going to be opening down the road, I highly encourage you to get signed up for our newsletter. That is where we share that information first. If you go onto our website and scroll to the bottom, there is it's either to the bottom or to the right, depending on what page you're at. There is a newsletter sign up box that I believe is on pretty much every page on our website. So you can just enter your email and get signed up for our newsletters and e-blasts. And again, if you did not get a copy of your grant award handbook, if you get a chance to read through it and you have more questions or something else comes up, we encourage you to let us know. Keep in touch with your grant specialists. All of this information is included in your grant award handbook. And we want to thank you for attending this award workshop and congratulate you on being a part of this really exciting program. A lot has happened over the past year and a half since we first launched the pilot project, and I'm just really excited to see what you all are going to accomplish across the state. So now is the time that I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we can take any questions. I haven't really seen anything come through. It seems like Nina has been answering things in the chat, but I am going to start my video again. And I welcome you all to jump in with any questions or comments that you might have. I saw one come through. I'm going to try to scroll and see if there's anything that we should address as a group. So somebody had said that they had not yet received a subaward agreement. That's a really great point. So everything relevant to this grant is located in Zoom Grants. We manage this entire grant for all of our grant programs through Zoom Grants. So if you can't find anything, it is most likely located in Zoom Grants. There's a subaward tab there that will need to be signed. We also encourage you to keep Zoom grants up to date with contact information. You may add collaborators into your application portal. We send a lot of emails through Zoom grants. So if somebody's missing it as a collaborator in your Zoom grants portal, they will not get the email. So please check in on that and keep that up to date as people come and go in your organization that might have something to do with this project. I'm not really seeing anything else. I see a lot of intros. Chris just asked, should a representative attend from our organization the monthly meeting, or should we wait until the county coordinator is hired? I do encourage you to send a representative to the monthly meeting if you haven't yet brought your county coordinator on board. I think that it's going to be very helpful. You know, we're going to cover topics like hiring challenges, hiring best practices, those sorts of things. And if you have questions about what other county coordinators have done or where they've seen success or experienced challenges, that's going to be the venue for you to bring those questions. And there's going to be a great mentorship happening between the groups that have been doing this for almost 18 months now and the groups that are brand new. So highly recommend that at least somebody from your organization attends until the county coordinator is hired. Brooke, you raise your hand. Go ahead, Brooke.
Yeah, thanks, Julia. I just wanted to talk about the meetings for just 1 second because the county coordinator meeting, I'm really excited about it because from the regional coordinator perspective, and historically, the county coordinators have had a lot of questions and there was a lot of trial and error. And so for the new county coordinators coming in, this is a really great opportunity for you to talk with the previous awardees and go through some of the questions and challenges that you may face moving forward. The regional coordinator meetings also are not mandatory, and they're really for our fire safe councils and our partners, but the county coordinators will benefit a lot from attending those meetings as well. We generally have presenters, but sometimes we do have kind of open forum or roundtable discussions, and you can learn a lot about some of the challenges that fire safe councils are having in your county or in other counties. And it just gives you the opportunity to kind of hear, solutions to problems, networking problems, or networking successes and learn from them. And sometimes we even have fun.
Thank you so much, Brooke. Appreciate your insight. Definitely encourage you all to attend. Brooke and Brittany are great. They are always fun. Don't let her kid you. Kristen had asked if the revisions between budget categories, if that 10% is calculated using the original budget category or 10% of the grant total amount. So that would be the original budget category. So say you had $22,000 in supplies and you wanted to move 2,000 of that over to personnel, that would be less than the 10%. So that would be 9%. So you would just be able to move that. But if it was 3,000, you would then need to submit a modification. And then Tiffany asked, does anyone have an existing job description for the positions that can be shared? There was a job description template included in the grant information handbook that was distributed prior to the application period opening. We are happy to send that to you. Oh, Nina's amazing. She's on it. She included it there. So you're welcome to use that template. We've had some that have used it. We've had some that have modified it or just created their own. It really depends on what outcomes and what your application looks like, how you want to approach this hiring process. So if anybody else has a job description that they'd like to share, if you can grab Tiffany's information, or Tiffany, if you want to put your email again at the bottom of the chat, since the chat got pretty long, anybody can go ahead and email that over to her. This is also something that we can discuss at the monthly county coordinator meeting next week. You can ask our existing county coordinators if they have a job description that they successfully hired a candidate off of, If they have an example of an RFP for a contractor position, that's a question that comes up a lot for those of you who are looking to possibly contract this position out. Some of our existing county coordinators might have that information, and they're a really great group and always happy to share. And then Nate said, we have signed our subaward agreement. Just want to confirm that we're good to go with the recruitment and hiring of our coordinator. Yes, your subaward agreement is signed. Your project began technically on February 1st, so you are welcome to go ahead and get started with that. Definitely for those of you that are hiring out for this position, once you have your county coordinator on board, please let your grant specialist know right away so that we can set up an introductory meeting with them. Another component of this grant that I don't think we really touched on is our quarterly check-ins with your grant specialist. I think we touched on it briefly. That is included in the handbook and your subaward agreement. But we will be scheduling quarterly one-on-ones with your county coordinator and maybe a supervisor or another team member who's working closely on this project. So that'll be between your grant specialist, your county coordinator, and your regional coordinator. And it's really just a chance for us to clarify anything from your progress reports that we might have a question about, or talk about modifications. It's just kind of an open forum to just keep the communication open between CFSC and your county coordinator. So we will schedule those following the submission of your first progress report. Anybody else have any other questions? Welcome to turn your mic on as well if you'd like. Nina, I can pass it over to you, or Amber, if you have anything else to add.
I don't have much else to add, Julia, other than we're just really excited to get all of you started and onboarded with these grant programs. So far, they've been really great, and these monthly meetings are going to be a great spot to get all county coordinators across the state together and really hear about the work that's being done. And we're all here to help troubleshoot and support you in any way we can with your grant programs. Myself, Julia, Amber, the regional coordinators, and other county coordinators as well. So please don't ever hesitate to reach out.
Hey, Nina. Looks like Amber's gonna hop on here.
No, go ahead.
I'm done. So
Okay. Okay, just going to reiterate what Nina said. I know Julia and Nina have most likely notified you about the in-person statewide gathering in April that we're planning. That'll be the first time that all the county coordinators, whether or not you have one hired yet, will be able to be in place at one time. We have a great agenda that we're developing with some speakers, as well as the legislative walk the day before. So more information to come on that, as well as official save the dates. But that is going to be a great opportunity to network, hear from county coordinators that have been in place for a while, and get some great information there. So even if you don't have your county coordinators hired yet, do encourage someone from your organization to come, just to get be able to network and learn from other groups. And the agenda will have some good speakers as well. So looking forward to seeing you all there. And on behalf of CAL FIRE, we just are thrilled with this new grant program and partnership. CAL FIRE is just excited that these county coordinators exist and they can start to tap into your leadership in the county and help push out more programs as new defensible space and home hardening and all the new information comes down the wire. So appreciate you guys stepping up to be part of that program and look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Amber. It's just final reminders, get your subaward signed if you haven't already. We will be reaching out when we are ready to accept your first payment request here very, very soon. Just have to get everything organized in Zoom grants. If you haven't uploaded your ACH, voided check, and W-9, please do that so that when payment requests open, we can get you all paid and you are ready to go to start your project. But other than that, I think this is world record time. We got this done in 50 minutes. happy to take any questions offline and give you back an hour and 10 minutes of your day. All right. Thank you so much, everybody.